The Messenger of God ﷺ wore a helmet woven with chains. The metal links hung down before his blessed face, draping over the sides. In his hand was a spear, his sword still sheathed. And now, Abi bin Khalaf's horse thundered closer. "Come forward, Abi!" The Messenger of God ﷺ called out with a fearless roar. "It will be only you and me!" Abi reined in his powerful horse, halted just a few steps away, and burst into a mocking laugh, fully convinced that he would finish the Prophet ﷺ today. His sword was still in its scabbard. The Prophet ﷺ stepped closer, still on foot, while his enemy towered above him on a massive stallion. And just as Abi drew his sword, the Prophet ﷺ leapt forward. A sudden, fierce strike. His spearhead sliced through the air, and though Abi lunged sideways trying to avoid it, the steel did not miss. The spear pierced into his right shoulder, deep beneath the collarbone. Abi toppled off his horse. A crack echoed, the sound of a rib breaking. Historians write, the Prophet's ﷺ strike was not even meant to be fatal. Someone like Abi, a hardened warrior, should have easily recovered. But something else seized him that moment. Terror, shock, a realization he could not face. The Prophet ﷺ moved to deliver a second strike, but Abi had already scrambled to his feet. He didn't even look back at his horse. He just ran, stumbling, panting, screaming. "Muhammad has killed me! Muhammad has killed me! O people of Quraysh! Muhammad has killed me!" Some Quraysh men inspected his wound and told him it was barely a scratch. But he kept shaking, repeating the same words like a man condemned. "I will not survive. Muhammad told me once that I would die at his hands, and his words never fail." Ibn Hisham writes that Abi even cried out, "If Muhammad had merely spat on me, I would still have died." And so it happened. When the battle ended and Quraysh retreated toward Makkah, they halted to rest along the way. And there, Abi bin Khalaf died. 4 years later, Khalid still remembered that moment as if it were unfolding right before his eyes. He had been sure, absolutely certain, that Quraysh would crush the Muslims that day. Yet what he saw instead shook the core of his being. The Muslims, they fought like men whose souls were already beyond death. It felt as if even the horses of Quraysh hesitated before them. Khalid spurred his horse and raced through the battlefield until he found Abu Sufyan. "Are we no longer capable of defeating these Muslims?" Khalid demanded. "Have the mothers of Quraysh fed their sons weak milk, that they tremble before these few men?" Abu Sufyan looked toward the Prophet ﷺ and replied, "Listen, Khalid, as long as Muhammad is alive among them, they will fight until their last drop of blood. They do not break." "Then give me the duty," Khalid urged. "Let me finish him." "No," Abu Sufyan snapped. "Go back to your cavalry. Without your leadership, they'll scatter. I'm sending foot soldiers after Muhammad." Now, heading toward Medina, 4 years after that day, Khalid felt a stab of regret. Abu Sufyan had crushed his greatest desire, to kill the Prophet ﷺ with his own hands and win the favor of Al-Uzza and Hubal. But orders were orders. He had returned to his cavalry, confident that the Prophet ﷺ must now have only a handful of companions left, and killing him would be easy. The scene remained vivid in Khalid's mind. The valley of Uhud soaked in blood, horses writhing, wounded men groaning, unable to rise. He remembered watching from a height as Quraysh's infantry finally reached the Prophet ﷺ and broke through the circle of companions around him. 3 Quraysh men, Utbah bin Abi Waqqas, Abdullah bin Shihab, and Ibn Kuma, began hurling stones at the Prophet ﷺ. The strange tragedy of it all was that Utbah, the one stoning the Prophet ﷺ, was the blood brother of Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas, the very companion fighting fiercely to protect the Prophet ﷺ. One stone knocked out 2 of the Prophet ﷺ lower teeth. Another split his lower lip. A third struck his blessed forehead, opening a deep wound. Then Ibn Kuma rushed in and hurled a stone so violently that 2 links of the Prophet ﷺ iron helmet snapped and drove into his cheekbone. Blood streamed down his face. The Prophet ﷺ fought back with his spear, but the enemy refused to come close enough for him to strike them again. So much blood had flowed from the Prophet ﷺ wounds that his strength failed for a moment, and he fell. Talha ibn Ubaidullah saw him fall. Like a lightning bolt, Talha sprinted towards him. His cry alerted the remaining companions, and they rushed to form a shield around the Prophet ﷺ. Those who had been stoning him fled when Sa'd attacked, Sa'd chasing his own brother Utbah in a rage so fierce that he had to be physically restrained. If the messenger of God hadn't ordered me to stop, Sa'd swore, I would have cut my own brother into pieces for attacking my prophet. The Quraysh were exhausted. Their assault faltered. Only then did the companions finally turn to the Prophet ﷺ wounds. The 2 women who had remained with him, Ammara and Ayman, washed his face, gave him water, and tended to his injuries. They saw the broken metal rings embedded deep in his cheek. Abu Ubaidah stepped forward, the son of a renowned surgeon. He tried to pull out the metal links with his fingers, but could not. So he bent down and gripped one chain link with his teeth, pulled, and removed it. Then he removed the second the same way. The chain came out, but Abu Ubaidah's 2 front teeth broke. From that day onward, people lovingly called him Al-Atram, the one without front teeth. Yet, by the grace of the Prophet ﷺ, he became even more handsome. Ayman bent over the Prophet ﷺ again, still tending to him. A sudden whistle, a thud. An arrow struck her in the back. A mocking laugh rang across the battlefield. They all turned. It was Habban bin al-Arqa, standing far away with a bow in hand, laughing as if wounding a woman was a victory. He turned to walk away. The Prophet ﷺ handed an arrow to Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas and said, "This man will not leave here except with one of your arrows in him."